two of the biggest European clubs in the world, the giants of European football, bar Real Madrid. The game, everyone said, was never going to end 0-0. It was guaranteed goals. One team, the best attacking three in the world. The other team, old, past it. For me, Bayern Munich is advantage year. Listen, Liverpool, what do you want from this season? What are your aims? I need to know. I really need to know. Some have said they're happy to go out of the Champions League so they can focus on the Premier League. Some have said you play each game on its merits, see what happens at the end of the season. We obviously know European football, the Champions League is the biggest competition. But the Premier League, they haven't won it for 29 years, 28 years. If you got serious ambitions about winning the Champions League, as you know, you've done it 5 times. Your home games, you need to be winning them. Last season, you were winning all your home games. This season, you've been winning your home games. And it's your away games that have let you down. Now, you take nothing but a 0-0 to the Allianz Arena in the second leg. And as I said, it's advantage Bayern. They didn't get an away goal. But the way they set up, I think they were pretty content with that. At no point did they start searching, potentially leaving themselves open at the back. Liverpool obviously being the home team, the aggressor, controlling possession, controlling the pace of play. But they just couldn't break Bayern down. And we've heard a lot of criticism of Bayern Munich. By Borussia Dortmund leading the way in Bundesliga. 3 points clear before this game started. That gap was much bigger over the last 3 weeks. But Borussia Dortmund drew in their last 3 games, dropping 6 points in that time. But Bayern Munich are still second behind them. The Borussia Dortmund who got battered by Spurs last week. No Robben. Riri passed it. No Boateng. Hummel's old. But today, what a performance. Now yes, a win away from home or even a squad draw would have been better for them. But I'm sure they're confident of going home back to Germany and beating Liverpool on their patch. They've come to Anfield and done what not many teams, if any, this season, other than Man City, have really stopped Liverpool from doing. That's scoring at home. We know Liverpool don't often lose at home. So if Bayern were to get a win, that would have been one for the books. But I could give man the match to a number of players. For me, it had to be anyone from the Bayern Munich defence. Sul and Hummels as a defensive pairing, brilliant. Absolutely. They ain't got no bags of pace, but they sat deep because they didn't want to offer Liverpool any space to run in behind. The one time Salah got off the shoulder, he only got a poked shot that was easily saved by Neuer. Mane had a chance, a shot that was deflected and fell to him in the box, and he turned on it and screwed wide when really he probably should have hit the target minimum. But it wasn't to be for Liverpool. They got into the attacking third many a time and they were thwarted, whether it was through the middle, out in the flanks, or just poor play in all. The midfield three of Henderson, Wijnaldum and Naby Keita, I think they were pretty good today, very good. But they took the ball forward from the middle of the park into the final third, but they just couldn't get that final pass. The one that springs to mind, I think, was a counter attack in the second half, and Naby Keita was running through the middle, and it's a simple pass out wide to Robertson, who's in bags of space, and he would have had the freedom of Anfield to do whatever he want, whether it was a shot or a cross at the end of it. But he just couldn't get the ball to him. Poor pass, finally got through into that direction, but by then it was too close. Keeper and defender came out, and the attack was snuffed, and that happened to a lot of Liverpool attacks. As much as the ball they had, and as many a shot as they had, one on target, if that. It wasn't good from them. It wasn't good in that final third. And it's going to be concerning for Liverpool, because even just forget the Champions League for a second. In 2009, they haven't been on the best of form. Lost to Man City, drawn with West Ham and Leicester. Obviously now they've drawn with Bayern Munich. Lost to Wolves in the FA Cup. But they beat Crystal Palace 4-3. The last game, I think, they beat Bournemouth 3-0, I believe it was. Return to some type of form. But it hasn't been a great 2019, and it could concern Klopp if this form doesn't pick up. But that being said, Bayern Munich, seasoned veterans, seasoned professionals. I mentioned the two centre-backs. I'm going to get onto the goalkeeper in a second. But Alaba, one of the most attacking and naturally gifted footballers and left-backs in world football. So disciplined today. So disciplined. Barely gave Salah an inch. And when Salah did get an inch, there was someone else on the inside, whether it was Javi Martinez or James Rodriguez, or even Thiago Alcantara at times, getting bodies in the way and blocking shots and crosses, potential goals and chances for Liverpool. But for me, my man of the match has to be Joshua Kimmich. I think this footballer, this young guy is brilliant. He could play, we know, in midfield or at right back, playing at right back today. And most of Liverpool's attacks were coming down that left-hand side. Robertson and Mane were the real threat for Liverpool today. Alexander-Arnold didn't really get as much forward as he has in the past. Maybe that was a tactic in terms of keeping an eye on Kingsley Coman, who probably would have been the main guy for Bayern Munich going forward. Serge Gnabry on the other side, he had a decent game as well. Lewandowski barely got a touch. And credit to Fabinho and Matic for that without Van Dijk. But I think Trent played within himself today, so most of the attacks came down Liverpool's left. But Kimmich, after being booked, meaning that he's going to be out for the second leg, he was on job. Lasted tackles where it needed to be. Early pressing, winning the ball, composure on the ball. He was brilliant. So I think for me, that's a good man of the match. I'm going to talk about the goalkeepers, because in that first half, they were definitely... I think they had a bet. Who can fuck it up the most? It must be. Because between Alisson and between Neuer, keepers who I'm hearing being compared to David De Gea. Now, granted, we're talking about playing on the feet, playing with the feet, not with their hands, but that's one of their traits, sweeper keepers. Their kicking was awful. Their kicking was bloody awful. Neuer's kicking only got good when he decided to go long. And I'm like, you've got a 6-foot+ guy up front with mad technique. He can bring the ball down from anywhere. I understand there's a philosophy to play out from the back. But when Liverpool are pressing and you can't play out, it's just going to come back to you. You might as well kick it long. As the game progressed, he started kicking it long more. And Liverpool barely won any balls in the air when Lewandowski was challenging for them, because, well, look at the size of him. But between him and Alisson, they were just intent on putting pressure on their team with their kicking. And if they ain't kicking good, then you can't compare them when you're talking about David De Gea, because he's a shot stopper. There's no one like him. So it's the kicking and the sweeper keeping that really is going to set them above the rest of the counterparts if we're talking about who is the better keeper. But we ain't going to talk. We ain't going to mention David De Gea too much. Liverpool kept pressing. And it's only... Liverpool have been so good this season. They've been so good. They were very good in the Champions League last season, but they've been so good this season. It's only at times when they're not winning, drawing games or possibly losing games, that you realise that their squad depth isn't great. Usually they're winning a game so they can bring on whoever it is, Lana, Sturridge, Origi, Shaqiri, whatever it is. Sometimes Keita or Milner's on the bench, Henderson at times. But they're winning the game, so you don't really take much notice of it. When they're losing a game and they're all drawing and they need someone to come off the bench to make that impact, they ain't got it. They actually haven't got it. Shaqiri is an impact player, but he's decent. Like, he's just decent. There's nothing more than that. But when you're calling on Origi to save the day, and I know it ain't a tragic result, like, Bayern Munich are a very good team, and they're still very much still within this tie at Liverpool. But when you're calling on Origi, you know that something ain't right. Something ain't right. And that's definitely an area Liverpool can strengthen, because neither Sturridge used to be top quality, but neither Sturridge or Origi are that guy. Like, they're not going to be a player who you can rely on to give you something off the bench. You might get something from them. A last-minute screamer from Sturridge against Chelsea early in the season, 1-1, 90th minute. 95th minute winner from Origi in the Merseyside derby earlier in the year. But other than that, tell me what they've done. They don't have that. And it surprised me when the commentator was like, you look at the two benches and you compare what Liverpool and Bayern Munich have, and Liverpool are in a better position, and I started listening to names, and I'm like, Lallana ain't that guy no more. Sturridge ain't that guy. Origi, well, he's never been that guy. And Shaqiri, I mean, he's decent. Granted, Bayern Munich's bench weren't great either. Ribery, 30 plus years old, 35 plus. Not that guy either. They definitely got some work to do in terms of rejuvenating their squad, because obviously we know Robben is retiring at the end of the season. Ribery, well, I don't know how many years he's got left in football, let alone in the Bayern Munich squad. But they had a good result. James Rodriguez, Thiago Alcantara in that midfield. Rodriguez played a much deeper role than I expected. I don't watch Bayern Munich much, but we know he burst on the scene in that number 10 role for Colombia in 2014 World Cup. And for Real Madrid, he played in that position as well. But he played in a much deeper role, a deep line playmaker, very much in front of the back four next to Javi Martinez. But his control of the possession and passing and relieving pressure from his team in tight areas or when being closed down was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm watching them and I'm like, oh, that's what I want from Man United's players. That's what I want. Matic is good and Herrera's good. But technically on the ball, them men are a level above. I looked at Lewandowski, and you compare Lewandowski and Lukaku, both big guys. But one has got technique. The ball comes to him and it sticks. And he can give it to someone else. But as I say, credit to Matip and Fabinho. Because he didn't get a sniff. Did not get a sniff. I expect the second leg to be a bit more open. Bayern Munich being the home team are going to go out to get the goals, get the win, which is going to leave space at the back that Liverpool love to attack in. So this tie is far from over. But you have to say, this advantage Bayern Munich. By Liverpool. Fans, tell me, what do you want from this season? If you go out, are you going to say, well, you know what, we're focused on the Premier League anyway? Is this a distraction? Because the League Cup, you said, was a distraction. The FA Cup, we said it was a distraction. You got a big game against Man United on Sunday. Is this just a distraction from the real target, the Premier League title? Going out to Bayern Munich would be no disgrace at all. Top side. with whatever problems they're going through, transition they're going through, top side. But let me know, is this competition nothing more this season than a distraction for Liverpool's greater ambitions of the Premier League title? And how much of a chance do you give yourself in the second leg at the Allianz? Who has the advantage after the first leg? In the other game, Lyon against Bayern, Barcelona, another game. We expected goals. Barcelona's been scoring goals. 0-0. And you have to say, obviously, again, advantage Barcelona. Going back to the new camp, you expect them to see that out. Didn't watch the game. But what I would say is, all this Farmers League business. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I'm talking about the Ligue 1. PSG came to Old Trafford and slapped up Man United. Lyon, they slapped up Man City in the group stages. And now they play Barcelona at home again. Didn't watch the game. But they got a more than credible draw. Kept Messi, Dembele and Suarez quiet. Farmers League. You lot should be ashamed.